In a move that's already causing massive ripples across global markets, the U.S. President Donald Trump has announced a sweeping 25% tariff on all imported cars. The decision, pitched as a way to protect American manufacturing, is sparking strong reactions from allies, trade partners, automakers, and even political leaders, none more vocal than Canada's top officials. Trump's bold move: America first again. Trump's proclamation was clear. Any vehicle not made in the United States will face a 25% import tax. According to the White House, this is a critical step toward ending what Trump called a ridiculous supply chain that stretches across North America and beyond. The administration estimates the move could bring in over $100 billion annually in revenue. While Trump touted this as a win for American workers and companies, the consequences are already apparent. U.S. automakers, which rely heavily on foreign-made components, are caught in a bind. Stocks tumbled. General Motors dropped by nearly 8%, Ford lost 3%, and Stellantis, the company behind Jeep and Chrysler, fell by almost 4%. The industry, dependent on tightly woven international supply chains, is bracing for a potential wave of price hikes and slower sales. Tesla, a surprising beneficiary amid chaos. Interestingly, Tesla has emerged as one of the few potential winners, at least in the short term. As media reported the EV giant's slight gains, investor sentiment briefly ticked upward. Some speculate Tesla could benefit from these new tariffs by being one of the few high-profile U.S.-based automakers relatively insulated from the blow. Yet Tesla's situation remains precarious. Despite the momentary rise, its stock fell sharply by 3.8% on Wednesday afternoon, marking a broader trend of volatility and concern. Analysts warn that this could be a blip, not a boon, especially as international backlash builds. Canada reacts, a relationship redefined. On the northern side of the border, the reaction was swift and furious. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney didn't mince words. The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation, is over. Carney convened an emergency cabinet meeting to formulate Canada's response, warning that the nation must now radically redesign its economy and explore trade alternatives. He emphasized that Canada's automotive industry can survive, but only if it's reorganized with less reliance on the U.S. "We are done with these tariffs," Carney said in French, reinforcing Canada's resolve to chart a new course. A new era of retaliatory tariffs. Canada is not taking this lightly. Having already imposed 60 billion Canadian dollars in tariffs, 42 billion US dollars, on American goods, the government is now preparing a much larger retaliation. Experts expect a record-breaking tariff response, possibly surpassing all previous measures in Canadian history. However, Canadian officials are holding back until Trump's tariffs are officially implemented. The White House has scheduled the new vehicle tariffs to begin on April 2nd, with parts tariffs rolling out later in May. Canada plans to strike after these take effect, keeping its cards close while signaling that it will not stand idle. Global allies voice alarm. Canada is not alone in its concerns. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva expressed deep concern over the U.S. administration's behavior, warning of dangers to free trade and multilateral cooperation. In Brussels, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen voiced regret at the U.S. move, promising the EU would defend its consumers and industries. German Automotive Industry Association President Hildegard Müller went further, warning the tariffs could harm not just companies but consumers and stifle prosperity across North America. Tesla faces a Canadian roadblock. As tensions between the U.S. and Canada escalate, Tesla is caught in a separate storm. The Canadian government has frozen $43 million in EV rebates for Tesla vehicles. The decision follows allegations that Tesla flooded the system with last-minute rebate requests before the expiration of a government program, submitting sales at a rate of nearly 2 vehicles per minute. Transport Minister Chrystia Freeland has since banned Tesla from participating in future rebates, citing concerns about fraud and fairness. More significantly, She positioned the move as a direct retaliation against Trump's tariffs, showing that foreign governments are now willing to hit U.S. companies where it hurts most. Tesla's global decline and mounting competition. While Tesla scrambles to maintain footing, the competition is surging ahead. Chinese EV giant BYD is leading the charge, having overtaken Tesla in global EV deliveries during Q4 of 2024. For the first time, BYD generated more revenue than Tesla and is becoming the dominant force in emerging markets. A recent analysis comparing Tesla's Model 3 to BYD's Dolphin and Seagull models across 10 non-Western countries showed stark differences. In Thailand, for example, the Tesla Model 3 cost $30,000 more than a Dolphin. In nearly every market, BYD's vehicles undercut Tesla in price while offering competitive technology and features. Tesla, meanwhile, has limited presence outside the US and Europe. It doesn't sell in Africa or South Asia and only operates in 2 Latin American countries, Mexico and Chile. BYD, on the other hand, has established a stronghold in places like Brazil, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia by partnering with local distributors and keeping prices low. The Mexico factor. A new player enters the scene. Interestingly, Mexico might be Canada's unexpected ally in this battle. The country's first domestic EV brand, Olinia, aims to provide a cost-effective alternative to Chinese imports and American dominance. The vehicle, developed with nearly 100% local components, is scheduled to launch in 2026, just in time for the World Cup. While Tesla critics have dismissed Olinia's ambitious goals, the vehicle could represent a strategic shift. For Canada, aligning with Mexico's burgeoning EV sector may offer a path toward independence from the U.S. auto market. Tariff wars. Just beginning. As Trump reignites a trade war with one of America's closest allies, the world is watching. The clash between the U.S. and Canada is more than just about cars. It's about sovereignty, economic strategy, and global influence. Tesla finds itself at the center of it all, courted by tariffs in the U.S., targeted by regulators in Canada, and outpaced by competitors globally. Whether this is the beginning of a new trade era or a temporary standoff, one thing is certain. The global auto industry is heading into uncharted territory, with America's economic policies once again shaping the fate of nations and corporations alike. Thank you for watching.